We're in Camden in Regent's Canal right now, and this is, well, I mean, it's always been a nice place for graffiti. In more recent years, ATG and Mighty Mo have hit up this spot a lot, but right before Christmas '09, Banksy did 4 pieces along the canal here, and we're about to check them out. Things have changed a bit with them, and it's kind of interesting. Not your typical Banksys anymore. As you can see, that no longer really looks like a Banksy piece. An old graph writer from years ago, decades ago really, who used to be a really respected guy, still is, has painted over Banksy's piece here and left only this classic sort of character with the paintbrush. What happened here was Robbo, or King Robbo, used to have a piece that was underneath everything that Banksy's done. And it was 20 years old, 25 years old, and it was still intact, partially. There were a lot of tags over it, and it wasn't perfect, but it was a piece of graffiti history in London, or at least that's how a lot of graph writers thought of it. Banksy went over it with this character here, and made it look, and also with a lot of this gray paint, and made it look as though the wall was naturally gray, and that this worker was putting up a wallpaper of graffiti, of Robbo's piece. You could see it as Banksy saying, notice this piece by Robbo that was done 25 years ago that no one outside of graffiti still recognizes. No one saw it that way. Instead, it was an attack on Robbo. Apparently there's a history between the two where Banksy met Robbo, said he'd never heard of Robbo. Robbo was not happy with that. There was a bit of retribution. Now Banksy's come back to write over Robbo. And then Robbo found out about this, and on Christmas Day, he comes along and repaints this piece. That was just the start of it, though. Banksy did 3 other pieces along Regent's Canal at the same time, and we're going to go see the rest of those and see what happened to them. So this is another one of the Banksy pieces, and originally it said, I don't believe in global warming, and it got huge publicity. All the environmental blogs picked it up. I thought it was one of his best pieces, definitely one of his best recent pieces. You can see here it's sort of at high tide, the piece actually goes a little bit underwater, where it used to say global warming would get cut off a little bit. Robbo has gone and changed it up, sprayed over where it said global and orning, and just, I don't believe in war, and of course, too late for that. Banksy started a war with Robbo's people, and they're going to keep hitting up Banksy's, I guess is the message, which is too bad, but hey, Banksy knew what he was doing when he painted over that piece. So this piece that Banksy's done on the Regent's Canal, and probably his worst, frankly. I think everyone kind of agrees. It's one of his old rat pieces, and it wasn't really well sprayed. A lot of people can't even tell if that's a tail or a tailcoat on his tuxedo there, and so it's not his greatest piece. But what the Team Robbo's done here is they haven't even modified the piece. They already know it's not a very well sprayed stencil. And also, who was the original person to do rats? It was Blek le Rat back in '82, '83. So. And he did rats all over Paris. You can't look at Banksy's rats, and if you're aware of Blek, you can't not think of them. So Team Robbo, aware of Blek, so maybe not as ignorant about street art as they'd like to seem, it's gone and just turned it into Banksy le Rat instead of Blek le Rat. Or if you're aware of Blek, you know what's being said here, Banksy le Rat. Banksy's ripping off Blek's things. You know, I don't necessarily agree with that, but it's definitely something to think about. It's definitely something people have noticed over the years. And Robbo they haven't even bothered to modify the piece, because as long as they say Banksy le Rat, that's a major insult in and of itself. It's basically like saying that Banksy's ripped off somebody else's style, and that's one of the most insulting things you can say to a graffiti writer. So with this piece, originally, again, Robbo and his team have modified it. Originally, it had this same fisherman kind of kid, but instead of fishing up a sign that says street cred, it was a little Banksy tag. Now it's sort of been turned around, and as another guy, No Lines in England, described it, I think, the boys become Banksy, this sort of country bumpkin kind of guy. He's from Bristol. He's out of the way. You know, he's not a London graffer, and he's fishing out street cred from the canal. And he's found his street cred by ripping off all these other graffiti writers like Robbo, I guess is the theory. And then the message next to it, did you think it was over? And did you think it was over? You know, Robbo's gone over all 4 pieces in the canal now, and he's probably going to go over more Banksy pieces, or he could, because that's a graffiti culture thing. And Banksy went over 1 piece by Robbo. Robbo's got to go over 10 pieces or 20 pieces, whatever it is, whatever it feels like, until he feels satisfied that Banksy knows his place. So he could potentially keep going over Banksy's work until he's satisfied. So there you have it. In Camden right now, there's a little graph war going on between Banksy and Robbo and his friends. It's brought a graffiti artist out of retirement and brought some new notoriety to him, and right now Robbo's the one winning, so perhaps Banksy will be returning soon from his trip to the Sundance Film Festival in Utah, and maybe he'll have something to say. But yeah, hopefully he'll have something to say.